Hi, hey, hello, how's it going? It's Emily, and I have some romances on my list that I want to get to. And so we're going to have a romance vlog moment here, starting with Funny Story by Emily Henry. I couldn't resist. I got it. Whatever. And we've actually been doing a lot of work around the house this weekend. In fact, I read an entire other book just this weekend, doing so much cleaning that needed to get done. We've had a bunch of renovations, well, renovating the bathroom, so we needed to paint. And we actually didn't like the first paint color we chose. It just was different than what we thought it would be. And so we need to repaint. So there will be more super productive audiobook time coming up. But in that process of being super productive this weekend, I have read another book and half of Funny Story. So I wanted to just open this vlog and start talking about Funny Story. So we're following Daphne, and Daphne recently went through a breakup. They had been engaged, planning their wedding, and it was literally the bachelorette weekend, and he breaks it off to start a relationship with one of his childhood friends who he's been friends with for a long time. And anyway, so she's reeling from this, and she actually ends up moving in with the woman who I referenced before, that was the childhood friend that her fiance broke it off to be with. Her boyfriend is named Miles, or her ex-boyfriend is named Miles, and Daphne actually ends up moving in with Miles because they both now have this situation where they don't know what's going on. They're reeling. She needed to move out in the process of this breakup, and she had nowhere else to go on quick notice, and so she ends up moving in with Miles. And she is a childhood librarian, or a young readers librarian at the local library, and is very passionate about her job, absolutely loves it. And he works at a winery and has various seasonal jobs, just primary one being the winery, but of course there's kind of an off season for the winery, and so does different seasonal things. And so they start out as roommates, and of course things are gonna go from there, right? They decide that they kind of want to get back a little bit at their former partners and pretend that they're in a relationship so soon after things broke off with their previous partners. And they also received invitations to the wedding, and just to mess with them, they accept the invitation to the wedding of their ex-partners, and they just want to mess with them. And so they pretend to be in a relationship, and just because. And then of course things are gonna go from there. It's just been so funny and so entertaining, and it's, I don't know, it's Emily Henry. I've loved Book Lovers and Beach Read. I have People We Meet on Vacation on the list for this summer, so I figured that would be the perfect summer romance. So that one will be coming in a vlog at some point later. But it's just been delightful. They're of course both working through some stuff and recognize that they shouldn't actually just jump right into anything, but they're starting to cross some lines and boundaries in a time frame that they wouldn't normally, because they've both just been through something that they can relate to, because it was happening to both of them in what was going on. And of course, being roommates, they're starting to learn more about each other, starting to become closer, and I don't know. It's been entertaining. I've been having a grand time. So I'm going to finish Funny Story, and will check back in once I'm done, and at some point there will be a couple of more that are on my list for this vlog, but we'll check in later. So checking in, I have finished Funny Story by Emily Henry. I absolutely love this one. I love the characters, I love their dynamic, I love how Emily Henry layers other things that the characters are going through to kind of add that emotional impact in her stories, and I love the way that she does that and the way her characters work through different things and kind of grow by the end of the story. I love these two, and yeah, I had so much fun with this one. I'm so excited to read People We Meet on Vacation this summer and continue the Emily Henry journey. I've also read The Fine Print by Lauren Asher. So this is the first book in the Dreamland Billionaire series, and in this one we're following Rowan and Zara. So basically it's kind of a Disney World like theme park, like very Disney vibes in here, which was actually one of my favorite parts. And Rowan is the grandson of the founder, and who has recently passed away, and he, to get the grandson's inheritance, he wants each of them to go through certain tasks, and Rowan's task is to come up with a proposal for the board about a major way to improve the park, some sort of major renovation project, something to that effect. And if the board approves his idea, his project, his proposal, then he will get his portion of the inheritance. And so the other books followed the other grandsons in this process. And so, yeah, so that's kind of his setup. We also follow Zara, who works at this theme park. She works in a salon in this theme park. Absolutely loves this theme park and has always believed in that little bit of magic that has made the park so special to her for her entire life. And she drunkenly submits a proposal. So they open kind of the employee portal to submit ideas, and she drunkenly submits an idea that she's really passionate about, and it ends up being selected. Or Rowan wants to speak with her and wants to pursue having her on the Imagineering team, or what is the equivalent of the Imagineering team for this park, that works on new ride ideas, works on new ways to improve the park and the park experience and new things that can be done with the park. And so he wants her on this team in part to help explore that idea that she submitted. And, by the end of, I think it's a 6-month period, that's when he needs to submit a proposal to the board. And so he's pushing the Imagineering team to come up with different ideas and flush different things out and figure out what he's going to submit to the board. He is definitely an asshole, kind of throughout, but also in particular at the beginning. He's kind of an asshole who has... doesn't really trust people very easily and pushes them away by being an asshole. And I don't always love one of the love interests just being a complete asshole, but he kind of is. And it's definitely a Grump Sunshine dynamic workplace romance as he leads this Imagineering team and Zara is working on different ideas. But I love her passion for her job. I love her passion for this park and improving it and, doing what she can to better it, but also stay true to what made her fall in love with the park in the first place. And it was just so much fun. Their dynamic was pretty cute, throughout. And there is an element of catfishing in this. I will just note that. I don't tend to love elements of catfishing in my romances, but I will say it was definitely a smaller part of this one than in some others that I've seen. And people come clean about some situations, and so I like that happened pretty quickly. Anyway, just to note, because that's definitely not my favorite part of a romance or a trope that I tend to enjoy, but I had fun with this one. I do intend to continue on with the series and see if I like the others. I'll briefly mention that I have read this a bit ago and didn't include it in any video and wasn't sure where to mention it because I adored it and I want to mention it somewhere. So I'll just mention it here. And that is That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Demon. And this is by Kimberly Lemming. I adored this one. First of all, how precious is this cover? I love it. And I just adored this one. And in this one, we're following Cinnamon, and her family are spice farmers. And so all of her siblings have names for different spices. And she gets drunk one day. Some shenanigans ensue, and a demon is involved. And so he basically wants her help bringing down a god-like figure or a religious figure and destroying some temples. Anyway, it's explained like what's going on, but he basically wants her help with this to help his people, to help other demons, and she learns some things that she didn't know about how this world has worked and the history of it, and why it might be good for her to do this. Anyway, so basically she kind of gets roped into an adventure, and just throughout this adventure, going to different parts of this world, they fall in love, and it is just super cute. It's super funny. It's just charming, whimsical, delightful, and I had so much fun with this one. I will for sure be checking out the others. So I just wanted to note that because I wasn't really sure where else to include it. There's some more romances on my radar. I think there's at least one more that I want to include in this vlog that I want to read relatively soon. So hopefully I'll be able to get to that one relatively soon and check in when I start it. I check in after I started. I really meant check in after I finished said book. The book I was referring to is Hooked by Emily McIntyre. This is a set of contemporary dark romances that are a reimagining of some fairy tale, but they are contemporary stories. So this one is based on Peter Pan, or inspired by Peter Pan, and so we're following our main character Wendy, who has a brother named John and is the son of someone named Peter. She meets our Hook character at the bar that he owns. They have a thing started and brewing between them. He knows that she is the daughter of Peter, and his family and Peter have a history, and basically our Hook character James wants revenge for what Peter did to his family back in the day, and he wants to use Wendy to be able to get to Peter. And it is a dark romance, so he does some pretty brutal things in the running of his business. Peter has done some brutal things, basically isn't a father figure to Wendy anymore after their mom died, has never really been a father figure to her younger brother John, and so he's really been absent and running his mysterious business that she doesn't really know much about. So, of course there's going to be the tension brewing of figuring out that he has basically used, that the Hook character has basically used her, but also the tension of, oops, these feels are starting to get real. And, and it's going to be hard to talk about this without spoilers. I overall really enjoyed this one. There was one aspect of the plot that made me go, why did you do it this way? Like, I could have loved that aspect of it or been entertained by that aspect of the plot if it had been done slightly differently. And again, I won't talk about specifics because I don't want to go into spoilers here, but there basically was just that one thing that I was not a fan of, But overall, had a lot of fun with this one. And that one plot aspect wasn't even like a dark romance. Like the darker parts of this, it wasn't even one of those. It was the reason that one of our characters did one of those dark things that bothered me. I feel like I can handle kind of the darker aspects of these dark romances. But again, it was just that one little thing. Anyway, but I am intrigued to continue with the series because I did have a lot of fun with this one. And I think they're all inspired by different or retellings of reimaginings of different fairy tales and potentially unrelated to each other in terms of, are they in the same world? Do the characters ever interact? I'm not sure. I think they're completely different, but just all are contemporary dark retellings of fairy tales. Anyway, I'm intrigued to continue. I actually already have the second one and hope to read it soon. But I am going to go ahead and wrap this one up here. Just a few books for this one, so it'll probably be a shorter one. I also have the second book in the Dreamland Billionaire series. So I do plan to continue both of these series soon. And maybe I'll give a quick check-in in some future romance vlog how I felt about those two books. But I want to just be able to go ahead and get a video up. It has been a minute since I've been able to film and edit and really focus on getting videos up, so there has been a huge gap in actually getting videos up. So I just want to go ahead and wrap it up and be able to get some videos up soon, hopefully. So thank you so much for watching. Be sure to subscribe for more bookish content. Let me know your recent romances that you've read, that you've enjoyed. I would absolutely love to know. I'll link my Instagram down below, as well as more information about how you can support the Black Lives Matter movement, and I will see you in the next one. Bye, everyone.